Okay, I see 6 p.m. straight up. Those of you near and far, thanks for taking the time to come in and engage with us all here. So with that, Jennifer, would you be so kind as to take roll call?
Yes, Mr. President. It is 6 o'clock. President Hagley,
Present.
Vice President Carter,
Here.
Secretary Heron,
Here.
Commissioner Bowers,
Here.
Commissioner Ingrisano,
Present.
CEO Jensen,
I am here.
CNE Ralston,
Good evening. I'm here.
CFO Ritter,
Here.
COO Moore,
Present.
and General Counsel Hauser.
Good evening.
Good evening. And if you are present in the or watching online, if you would put your name in the chat, that'd be helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Okay, first item up is approval of the board meeting agenda. Do I have a motion to have approval of the board meeting agenda as presented?
I'll make a
So
motion
moved.
to accept it.
Thank you, Commissioner Agrisino. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Heron. All those in favor of the motion that's been made and seconded for approval of the board meeting agenda, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Abstaining, hearing none. Motion passes. Thank you. Moving on to public comment. I'd like to go ahead and invite anybody that care to make a public comment. Please limit that to 3 minutes. State your name and your city where you reside. Calling for a second time for public comment. And lastly, for a third time, anyone care to make a public comment? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Go ahead and call for the question. All those in favor of the motion that's been made and seconded for the approval of the consent agenda, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Abstention? None. Hearing none. Moving forward on to our patient story. Renee?
Yeah, well, we have a treat for you tonight. We have several patient stories, but Trisha is going to do our first one under the actual patient story, and then we'll have some more later from Katie. So Trish, it's all you.
Hi, perfect. Good evening, everybody. So this one is just a brief one. This was a letter written by Dr. Ramaswamy to some of our leaders up on the med floor. Dr. Ramaswamy, as you know, is one of our hospitalists. I'm just going to read a portion of this. I wanted to express my thanks to the whole team on the floor last week, especially on Thursday, Friday. We were at high census and had multiple patients having acute issues, and 2 of them ended up transferring. Despite this, we were able to admit 2 swing med patients on Thursday and 1 ED patient who boarded in ED for the night. In the past, at least 8 months ago, I don't think we would have agreed to take 2 swings and handle all these crashing patients without having moments of frustration and also feeling overwhelmed. Renee, being charge nurse, took control and was there for support of the nurses and did not seem disturbed, remaining calm throughout the day. The nurses who had the patients with issues ensured that labs and vitals were done diligently and kept me posted at timely intervals. The same attitude displayed by Cassidy the following day. Also, my special thanks to Lisa Huck, who helped me contact the transfer center at 7 p.m. and stayed late to help coordinate things for transfers. And this goes on a little bit, but what I wanted to highlight here was the journey that the med floor has been on to take more acute patients and really help serve our community in ways that they haven't previously been able to do for the tools or or just the level of acuity and the expertise of the team up there. And they have come such a long way and are doing great work for our community to keep patients here locally, and certainly transfer out those that are too sick and might need a higher level of care or an ICU. So thanks to the team up on the med floor. Thanks, Dr. Ramaswamy for writing that.
Very good.
That's great.
Thank you, Tricia. Always love our patient stories. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And there was that the exclusive patient story that we had for this evening?
For now,
Okay,
more to come.
very good. Thank you. Look forward to it. On to commissioner business. Let's see here. I would like to invite Commissioner Agrisino to share with us a little bit about a thought that was brought forward, and I thank him for doing so. Robert, would you please share how this came about in your thought process?
Yeah, in thinking back over some of the past board meetings that I've listened in on, a while back, there was a change in the commissioner meeting time slot that was proposed, and it was moved to the time it is now from 5 o'clock to 6 p.m. start. And I think there was a lot of discussion that I'd heard in reference to staff at the hospital being able to, wanting to participate in these video meetings, but it kind of gave them a lag time in there from the time they got off, I believe, until the time the meeting started, which then put them home an hour later. And I thought, just out of respect and convenience for the staff at the hospital, if the commissioners are in agreement to it, maybe we could go back to the original meeting times that we had for years, where the meeting started at 5 p.m.
Thank you, Robert. I would invite any other input from our colleagues as board members. Please share any thoughts and comments about that, or any questions that you might have.
I'm
Yes,
fine with it. I'm
I
okay
do.
with it.
Is that Emma? Is that you?
Yeah, I'm okay with it,
Okay.
Kevin.
Emma, thank you.
And Mark indicated he was okay with it as well, I believe.
Nope.
Oh, did you say no? I'm sorry.
Correct.
Okay.
First of all, this is not the hill I'm going to die on. That's for sure. Whatever the board and the staff decide is fine with me. However, I think we do need to keep in mind that there was a movement months back to consider our constituents, of which we have 77,000. Our board meetings are not for our personal convenience. They're for producing information regarding Snoqualmie Valley Health as it pertains to solvency, patient care, quality access, and the number of services that we offer. I am probably the only 9 to 5 working commissioner on the board. And I would find 5 or even 6 o'clock difficult. However, it is my responsibility to tailor my schedule to meet the board meeting. My concern is that if we truly want the community involved in our meetings, we have to make it accessible to them. And in my view, and in my personal experience, 5 o'clock is a very difficult time. I mean, I get off work at 4, try to come home and get things ready at home, for example, meal prep and stuff like that. I don't even have children or children's activities to attend. So again, I'll go with whatever the board decides. For me, I can be flexible. The meetings are virtual, so that makes it incredibly easy, no matter where you are. So my thought is, I think the 5 o'clock time is probably the worst possible time to have the meeting. And those are just my 2 cents. Again, not the hill I'm going to die on.
We have tried several different times and slot for many, many years. Even if you say 6:30 or 7 o'clock, the number of attendees is not increasing at all. So we have to stay on with what we have right now. Thank you. 6 o'clock is good.
I agree with both points. I agree with Commissioner Bowers that the purpose of this meeting is for the public and not for our convenience. However, we've got what 30 people on this call right now, and probably 98% of them are members of the hospital. And as Commissioner Herron has pointed out earlier, later, it doesn't really increase the number of public that participate. And so, I would like to vote in the spirit in which this was proposed by Commissioner Agrisano, and say, if this is what makes it easier for the staff, and they are the vast majority of participants in this, and even though they may or may not live in the Valley, they certainly work in the Valley, and their success, their morale, their happiness is a huge part of our success. I would prefer to make it earlier if that is what works better for the staff. I'd even go to 4:30 if you think that having it earlier so that people could do it from their drive or from their office before leaving for the day. But five is good for me.
And also reading the number of staff that is also residents of the Valley. I think I was reading in our report that almost half lives in our zone, in our PSA. So that, if you want to look at the population, I think that's also quite impressive. Thank you.
I appreciate those comments, Commissioner Carter. And I would say if we're going to move it, let's move it earlier, 4:30. That would accommodate the staff quite easily, and I can definitely be flexible in that regard.
Well, this has evolved into quite an interesting conversation. And I don't know that we need to necessarily take a vote on this tonight, but I think I certainly hear and heed the comments by everybody on both directions, whether it's stays at 6 or moves to 5, or now I'm hearing even 4:30. I would, I think we try to accommodate certainly the majority, if you will, but I also would like to just have Jennifer, for the purposes of those in attendance and those that might be watching this at a later date. Jennifer, would you be so kind as to share the many different ways by which the public, as well as our team, our staff, and even ourselves for that matter, can visit and watch this and listen to this board meeting? Could you share just the many different ways, varied ways that people can actually observe this information?
I can do that. I might not hit them all. We do have all of our links to each meeting already loaded into our website. So if you navigate right to our SVH website, right at the top, there's Board of Commissioners that links to future meeting links, and also all of our past minutes that are in there already. The links are in our Facebook page. They're on our Facebook page already, all of them for the rest of the year. You can always call or email myself. My name and all the information is also on the website. And if anyone just decides they'd like to come day of, they can walk right in and ask. And we have an empty room right now, I think, with a computer on for anyone who'd like to watch and participate.
Jennifer, thank you. I think it's always good to review certainly what we have on the table as we currently stand, by methods by which I just recently went on the website again and was reminded of all of those recordings and everything. It's fantastic. It's a great medium for people to either revisit the conversations that were had, because it's all recorded. So we certainly try to be absolutely transparent and make it as convenient as possible for everybody. So what I would ask for is there a will to take a vote now, or go ahead and have some further discussion? There certainly is a varied degree of time. I personally, I lean towards the 5 p.m. myself, simply on the premise of I'm flexible myself personally, but I think it accommodates, from what I've heard many, many times, it certainly accommodates our staff. And I think it likely, although I hear Mark's words loud and clear, people that work out of the Valley, that live in the Valley, that come in, it may be a little bit of a challenge. However, they can see it again, they can see it online, they can see it recorded, and that sort of thing. And messages can always be conveyed to us at any time that we can speak to when needed. So with that being said, is there a will to go ahead and have a vote taken at this time, or do we want to postpone and talk amongst ourselves and for the process to unfold?
Commissioner
the
Hagley, just a
betterment.
point of clarification, by text amongst yourself, you mean during the meeting, correct?
Of course.
Commissioner Hogley, if I could just make a comment, I think that what Jennifer brought up is an excellent point. That I mean, it seems to me that people who need to be live at the meeting are ones who are going to make a public comment. And we very seldom ever get a public comment. If your interest is just to see what happened at the commissioner meeting and stay informed, you have the ability at any time that is convenient for you to download the meeting and watch it at your convenience on a Saturday, a Sunday, whatever works for your schedule. I think Commissioner Bauer brought up a good point. A lot of people have kids, they've got sports at night, and they don't get home till 9 o'clock at night. So for them, I think, if they want to stay up on what's going on at the hospital, probably a weekend is going to be the time they're going to watch this. So they're not going to watch it live anyway. So my personal feeling is I would like to see it move forward, and I'd like to make a motion that we change the start time of the board meetings to 5 p.m.
Do I have a second?
I'd like to make a comment first, just a very brief comment, and that's to say it's one thing to present the information, but my sincere desire is to have community participation. They can't do that on Saturday when we're not meeting.
Any
Commissioner
further?
Hagley, you have a motion on the table and you're
That's been
looking for a
made.
second to have discussion.
That's correct. Yes. Do I have a second?
I'd kind of be interested in a straw poll of how people like 4:30, or is that too much and we're going to stick with 5? Maybe starting with the commissioners.
Yeah, but Mr. President, if I might, I hate to intervene, but you do have a
No.
motion and you don't have a second. And so that motion is going to die for lack of a second if you don't have a second to further discuss this. The other complex issue to this is that your meeting times, your regularly scheduled meetings under RCW 4230.070 requires you to fix those by resolution. So we have to prepare a resolution as well for you to sign. Now, I believe that you could do that in this meeting, identifying that the resolution will be signed at the next meeting, but it needs both a motion, in essence, to adopt a resolution, and I can prepare, or your staff, CEO Jensen has prepared those resolutions in the past, because you're going to reset the regularly scheduled meeting times of your regularly scheduled meetings.
Thank you for that, Skip. Hearing that, is there a second motion?
I would second that motion. I think it's good to have the conversation and put the issue asleep.
Well, are we having a discussion or are we putting it to sleep? Because I want to know if
Motion's
4:30 is a
been
good
made
idea
and-
or a bad idea.
There's
Thank
been
you.
a motion and a second. It's open for further discussion at this time, Mr. President, or you can call for the question. Any member at any time can call for the question. That closes debate and you move forward then on the motion.
And I would be open to amending my motion to change it to 4:30 if that's what the group wants to do.
We have
I
a,
move to close this motion and set it, table it aside. It's to be discussed later.
to clarify the motion then, would that be to,
So Emma
Follow-
Emma has called for the question. So at this point, it would be calling for a vote.
Yes,
Uh,
close
can
debate,
we-
call for a vote. The question's been called for. CEO Jensen is correct. So you must now take a vote, Commissioner Hagley, unless there is additional debate. So at this
can
point,
I
the
hear the
president,
motion again? Thank you, Skip.
sure.
Yes, the motion that's on the table was to revise the regular board meeting times to be at 5 p.m. That was seconded by Commissioner Bowers.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. I'll go ahead and call for the question. All those in favor of amending the board meeting time going forward from its current 6 p.m. to 5 p.m.? All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
Abstaining? I believe we had.
I
didn't
did
hear
not
how many yes
record a
votes.
vote for Commissioner Herron.
Okay,
I'm abstaining.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you, Commissioner Hearn.
okay. We have 1 abstention and 4 yeses. Is that correct? No,
Three.
Three, no.
Commissioner Carter?
We have three yeses, 1 abstention, and 1 no.
no.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Correct.
Motion carries.
Correct.
All right,
Great discussion, you guys. Well done.
And we
Right,
will
so-
prepare the official resolution per Skip's direction for the next meeting. However, with this vote, according to other legal counsel, that still confirms a desire of the board, and we may move forward with that at the next meeting. So we will plan to meet at 5 p.m. next month and then make it official with the official resolution. And Jennifer will make sure the times are reflected on our website.
Thank you. Okay, next we have a report regarding, we have Dr. Catherine Thompson. Is that correct, Renee?
One other quick item of business on the commissioner business first was there was a desire to discuss committee information sharing that was brought forward. Would
yes.
you like to discuss that?
Yes, and I would like to have, let me see here. I wanted to call on someone specific to that. Robert, I think you had, did you bring that one forward, that item forward for
Yeah,
discussion?
we did talk about it a little bit, and I wanted to make sure that from the standpoint of we have subcommittees, the public understands there are subcommittees that happen outside of this board meeting where we look at specific domains of knowledge and interest. And there are some directions. For instance, the finance committee, and there's a quality control committee, and there may be some other committees that get together and meet. And my concern is that I wanted to make sure that the commissioners all had access to information that was going on in those subcommittee meetings. So looking at my own subcommittee that I chair, the Finance Committee, I can see from the agenda and the meeting packet that all the commissioners receive, basically everything we review and talk about in the Finance Committee is included in the commissioner's packet. And so I didn't know about possibly other subcommittees if there are things that some of the other subcommittees want to include in the major packet that goes out to the board members, keeping in mind that some of this is patient information, private information. We have HIPAA regulations and so forth,
Right.
but just open that question up and say, is there a need for information sharing among all the commissioners about other information going on in some of the subcommittees? And if so, what would be shared?
Commissioner
Are we
Agrisano,
still- Point of
of
order, can I just ask a question? Are we on finance now? Where
No,
are we?
I think-
Section B?
Commissioner Heron, we are under Commissioner Business. There was an
Okay.
addition to the agenda to discuss committee information. And so we are discussing how the committee information flows to the board members.
Oh, so we're still at the board meeting time discussion, correct?
We've
No,
passed that.
We're not
we
on
went ahead and
trauma.
voted on that, and that was approved for 5 p.m. We'll sign the resolution next
But I
month.
hear Commissioner Angrisano is talking about finance subcommittee and all that.
It was
Commissioner Heron, we are
lost you.
discussing how, in
Yep.
general, the information that's delivered to the committee members is distributed to the rest of the board. And so he's going to provide a little bit of information. The two board committees that we have are the Quality and the Finance Committee. The Quality Committee, there are not materials distributed from that. Those are protected by RCW. So those materials are only discussed and distributed at the actual meetings. And generally, they're not hard copies. And if we do hard copies, we tend to request that those stay at the district, so they're not distributed. So there isn't much information other than I know that Commissioner Bowers has asked for a couple of things that he'll be sharing tonight under the Quality Committee report. So those things we may put in our PowerPoints. As far as the Finance Committee goes, the basic amount, the bulk of the information does go to the full board. There are some fine details of like down in the weeds, like the entire roster of the warrants generally does not go out to the full board. And Shauna provides an extremely audit level detailed report that goes to the Finance Committee that is summarized. And then that summary is sent to the board.
I am completely aware of that, but I'm
And-
looking at the agenda. I was following the agenda 6:20. The board meeting time was done under Commissioner Business, and then trauma-informed care, and then the MRI, and then the hub, and then the
Right.
quality. So I'm totally lost. We jumped to reports
Commissioner
already.
Herron, I apologize to interrupt, but you don't have the amended agenda. The agenda was amended and added at 6:30 called Committee Information Sharing.
Oh,
So you're looking at
Okay.
the prior agenda that went out
Yeah, this
with
is
the
the one that I
original
picked
packet.
up yesterday. Okay, or a couple
Right,
days ago.
okay.
There you go.
And I don't have that. That's why I'm a little confused to where we are right
Yep.
now. I'm trying to follow the
Understood.
agenda.
Yep.
And we're-
Thank you for calling question to
Okay,
that.
thank you.
Yeah, you know what? I'll agree with Commissioner Herron. I don't have an amended agenda. Did something go out tonight?
I mean, I looked at my email just before just before the meeting to see if there's any new agenda. I didn't see one
Went out
on the
yesterday.
hospital computer. So I'm completely,
Commissioner Herron,
A
I
little bit-
apologize
anyway.
for that, and maybe it was missed in everybody's email. Jennifer sent that out yesterday, I believe. We can put it on the screen if that's helpful. Jennifer can put it up for everybody to see, so if that helps clarify where we are. Thanks, Jen.
Was
So
that
while
the only
Jennifer's looking at,
change?
while Jennifer is putting up the amended agenda for everybody, I'll finish
Mhm.
kind of the description of the last piece of the finance committee.
yeah,
so
see.
No, we're on 6B right now, under
Right,
625.
That's what I was just
Right, there's
Okay.
the confusion
don't
right
have
there.
it here.
Yep.
the
Thank
B
you.
is the trauma that became
Yep.
C. Okay.
Okay, so under 6B on the amended agenda, which is on the screen, we're discussing how the committee information gets to the board. And so, as I was saying, the quality committee, there is nothing distributed to the board beyond the quality committee because it's protected information. And under the finance committee, we send the board level summary, which is a summary of Shauna's extremely detailed report. And it is the year-to-date financials instead of the month-to-date financials. So those things go to the full board in the board packet. That is the difference. But the information that is there is the same information. It's just more in a governance level summary and not a committee level summary.
Yeah, and if I recall, in the finance committee, I think it was in May, and that was before Angrisano or Robert was, and I mentioned that we do need. I would like to see, like in the past, that
Oh, sure.
all the
Yep.
checks that have been reimbursed included in the finance packet.
So Emma, what we can do for anybody that wants the committee that is not on the committee, if you would like that, we can have Jennifer Scott print that for you, and you guys are welcome to pick that up.
Okay, that would
You
be good.
just let us know. We'd be happy to provide it.
All right, thank you.
And Renee, point of clarification and my colleagues as well. The item, the late change that was made, one thought that occurs to me for point of clarification, obviously Commissioner Carter as well as Commissioner Herron were caught off guard, if I heard correctly, about this added item late. When I am aware, because I am always aware of these things as they come up last minute, I will endeavor to bring that to the attention of all of you so that you are aware of it, so that it's coming in the meeting, that you may not have an updated, maybe, like myself, I was traveling on the road. So I obviously, I knew about it, I had heard about it, but as far as the printed version of it or electronic version update, I hadn't had that either, but I was aware of it and I could have mentioned it. So I'll take some ownership in that, and thank you for bringing it up. Again,
And
all about
Commissioner
transparency.
Hagley, in the future for your consent agenda approval, or for your agenda approval, Jen can just have this on the screen so everyone can make sure they have the most current version.
There you go. Thank you.
Okay, so Robert, I think that can conclude this discussion. So basically, if you want information that's down at the detailed level for the committee, just let Jennifer Scott know and she will print it for you and you can pick it up here at the hospital.
Yeah, I appreciate that. My goal was just to make sure everybody felt, we have a level of transparency among all the board members, and everybody felt like they had access to any information that's discussed in the subcommittees that they want to have access to.
Sounds good. We can do that.
Thank you. Commissioner Carter? Are we good?
Oh, yeah, we're good. No, I found
Thank
the updated agenda.
No, and thank you for bringing about the questions. So, okay, moving on to where are we at here? The trauma.
Right. Yeah, so we are going to talk, Katie Thompson, who is we refer to her as our Swiss Army knife. She is absolutely amazing and can do almost every single job in this entire hospital. But the thing that she's most passionate about is trauma-informed care. And she has really brought this awareness to our organization that has really allowed our caregivers to think about how we deliver care to our patients and our community in a different way. And I invited her to tell you a little bit about the program that she's been working on and how it's benefiting our community. And with that, you get 2 bonus patient stories tonight. Because I asked her that if she could share, because a lot of the information she deals with is extremely confidential and it's hard, but she said that she could share in a way that would be appropriate for you to hear these patient stories. So Katie, welcome and thank you so much for your work, and we're excited for your presentation. And you are on mute. There you go.
It's always the mute button. And I am Katie Thompson. Thank you. I'm one of the PAs for the organization. And I am also the program manager for Snoqualmie Valley Assault Treatment Services, as well as the trauma-informed care programming here.
Welcome, Katie.
Thank you. I can do many of the jobs at the hospital, but definitely not all of them. So, that's a little bit hyperbolic, I think, but thank you for the praise. So Jen, can you control the slides, or do you want me to, yeah, okay. So
Jen's got you. Just let her know when you need to advance.
Okay, sounds good. I'm going to start a little bit with just sort of who we are. I'm going to give you some statistics from the past year and the present year. We're going to do some patient stories, and we're going to end on some of the work we're doing with trauma-informed care. So this program has been open for about 1.5 years now. We started it at the very end of March last year. And we see adolescents and adults who have experienced sexual assault, intimate partner violence, and strangulation, as well as doing case management and follow-up, which is a really fantastic service for the community. We are small but mighty. I am the program manager and the chief forensic examiner, so I do all of the exams myself. And then we are joined this year by the second Katie, so Katie squared, who is our crime victim advocate, and she comes to us via a grant partnership with Snoqualmie Tribe. And she is an absolute whiz with case management, resource provision, and she is just a great, enthusiastic addition to our team and somebody who can really benefit our community long term. So next slide, please.
Katie, can we pause on that slide just for a quick second to see if there's any questions about the services, but from the commissioners? Okay, thank you.
So this year, so far, we have seen 7 sexual assault cases, 5 domestic violence, 2 additional domestic violence plus strangulation, and 1 sexual assault with strangulation. We've also done a record 6 follow-up exams, which is incredible because that means that our patients trust us enough to not only see us in the acute setting, but also come back for follow-up care. Very common to lose this type of patient to follow-up, so we're really excited about that uptake in the clinic setting. And we have great relationships with our area law enforcement. Issaquah Police Department has started using us basically as their primary or preferred exam center. And then Snoqualmie PD and us, we are a great partnership as well. And we're very connected with King County Sheriff as well. And Chief Hall is really enthusiastic about the new program. So that's what we've done so far this year. Next slide.
I have a question. Can I just ask a question about all the primary cases? Where those cases go and how is it investigated? I'm sure it goes to the law enforcement, but I don't see the law enforcement. Oh, okay. Because like the sexual assault, 7 cases. Are we tracking those things for our quality?
Emma, is your question what happens after they come to us?
Yeah, for quality purposes.
Katie, would you explain how that process works with the exam?
Yeah, absolutely. So when a patient comes in and gets an acute exam through us and we collect forensic evidence, through the national End the Backlog initiative, we have a computerized tracking system that is statewide. And so I register the kit through that system, and it is also something that the patient can see, so they can actually track their own kit from the time it goes into my evidence storage to the time it gets handed over to law enforcement to the time it goes to the crime lab and gets processed. And so that's the basic process, is that the kit is surrendered to the law enforcement agency who is either investigating the crime or who is the district in which the crime occurred. There is also a provision for what we call anonymous exams, and that's also a national standard through the Violence Against Women Act. If patients do not want to report to law enforcement, they are still able to get an exam and do evidence collection, and either the hospital or law enforcement is required to hold that evidence for 2 years and make a good faith effort to contact the patient prior to destroying any evidence.
So the cases remain under local control. It doesn't go outside of or goes national or federal or whatever.
Emma, we are only
correct.
responsible for the medical part of that exam, and law enforcement is responsible for how the cases are handled.
Okay, thank you.
Great question. Thanks, Katie.
Next slide. And next slide. So we're going to talk through a couple of wins with our program. These are both cases that I feel like really demonstrate what our small but mighty team can do. One of particular importance was a Snoqualmie tribe member who was referred to us through both Reclaim Stability, which is the housing stability organization in Snoqualmie, and the tribal representatives. And she's been in a very coercive, emotionally violent relationship for quite some time. She also has a special needs child and a child that she's estranged from. And we, together with Snoqualmie Tribe, with KDO, who did a ton of work on this case, and myself, we were able to do the following things. We got her child specialized treatment and stabilization at a place that can take care of him. We found her secure housing near the hospital where her child was admitted, so she was able to stay close by. We helped her legally, so we helped her get a restraining order and a temporary protection order, and also start divorce proceedings. We also connected her. One of the things that happens to a lot of chronic DV victims is they are lost to ordinary primary care follow-up. So we also looped her back into our primary care setting through my clinic. So we were able to get her some of the well woman stuff that she needed, get her blood pressure stabilized, and do a lot of that sort of primary care stuff. And then we were also able to secure a mental health care visit with our psychiatric nurse practitioner, Jacob. And he was able to help provide some trauma-informed interventions and also get her set up for long-term talk therapy. So next slide. And so this is another case management type case. We do a lot of case management in addition to the acute exams, because for many of our patients, managing these proceedings is very complex and difficult, and they're doing it within the structure of a traumatized brain. And so it's even more difficult than an ordinary brain to follow through with things, to understand complex and difficult legal proceedings and other things like that. And so our help is vital to these patients not only leaving but staying left instead of going back to unsecure environments. So this was a 36-year-old female. She also was not in a physically abusive relationship, but very manipulative and abusive relationship with 3 children, 2 of which were special needs. She felt really trapped, very uncertain about her next steps, very worried about the future. She also lived in a very isolated community with very few resources. And so she actually initially reached out to me through a referral. And we spent a lot of time, both of the Katies spent a lot of time with her with safety planning. And this is what we often will start with patients who are still within their relationships, is what we call safety planning. So that is basically helping them to imagine what it might look like to leave or how to leave safely. And then because of that safety planning, events within her marriage escalated before she was ready or before she felt ready to leave. But thanks to that safety planning, she was prepared, even if it wasn't like on her time frame. So she understood what the next steps were, and she was able to act upon those steps, even though she wished that she had had a little bit more time. So she's now living safely with a friend. She was able to move her children out of the house with her. They are reestablished in homeschool in their new community. And last I checked, they're doing really great. So another success story for our program. Next slide. And then the way that we are supporting our team members in interacting with patients who have experienced trauma is by supporting and empowering them and making it clear that they also are part of this vital equation. So I think a lot of trauma-informed care is unidirectional. It only faces like the patients, and I think it's really important that it faces our staff and our organization so that we too can feel fulfilled and ready to serve our patients at any time. So globally, trauma-informed care, what it's asking you to do is shift the question from like, what's wrong with you, to like, what happened to you and how does that inform how you interact and how you behave within certain circumstances. Every human has experienced trauma. That's another kind of like big takeaway here. Trauma is a subjective experience. And so that's one of the things that we really lead with in this training is about how all of us have had hardship, have had trauma, and understanding it, how it impacts us is vital to our ability to render excellent patient care. Next slide. And so we've built the trauma-informed values around our BOLD values. And when we first started imagining this program, we realized just how closely they were already aligned. Really, it wasn't a big stretch to embed trauma-informed values into our BOLD values. So I put them here, but building trust is one of the fundamental principles of trauma-informed care. And so we're really we're not only asking the patients to trust us, but we're asking our care members to accept and be honored by that trust that our patients give to us. And then we are leading innovation in this way. We are really baking in trauma-informed care into our entire organization, which you're going to see on the next slide, which is really what I envisioned when we started talking about this program. Was I knew I wanted something that was like comprehensive and really touched every level of the organization, and was something that was not just like a one-off training, but something that was really part of our culture. Next slide. Oh, wait, I think there was, oh, maybe there wasn't another slide. Oh, maybe there wasn't. Okay, just kidding. So what I would end with is just kind of a brief description of the program, the trauma-informed care program that we're using. And what it is it's basically like a two-part training for every single staff member, all the way from upper management, all the way down throughout the organization. Every single care level gets this programming. We're also embedding it into new hire orientation, and we're strategizing at this point sort of how to continue to educate people over the years that they are working for Snoqualmie Valley. And so I'm happy to take any questions now.
Can I just make a quick statement real quick in support of this? We were at Snoqualmie Fire Department last Wednesday. We were fortunate enough to have a presentation by both Katies. We got them both out there to do training, and I believe you spent about 2.5 hours with our staff going through in depth what this program was. And I have to say, I was amazed. I didn't realize we had anything like this in the Valley, yet alone a part of the Snoqualmie Valley Hospital. And, a lot of times firefighters are the first on scene at these traumatic events because there's violence involved and somebody is typically hurt. And Katie did a phenomenal job at making us more sensitive to the issues surrounding these trauma events, how to work with these patients, how to preserve evidence, and just that we even have this capability available to us locally, which we're the only hospital in the area that does this. Even a bigger hospital up the road doesn't have this capability. I mean, this is extremely unique and of such great value to our community out here in North Bend and Squamish and Issaquah. I was real excited, and the feedback I got from the staff afterwards was we were all in awe and had no understanding and no clue that this was available, and so happy and fortunate that we were educated on it so we could better handle these situations when we were first on scene. So my hat's off to you. This is just a phenomenal part of the hospital and the offering that I don't think the community is even aware of. It would be great to get this word out to more members of the community. And as Katie says, they don't have to call 911 to be involved in this. They can just walk in and, you know, it could be the results of domestic violence and they need help. And they're scared to call 911. So it's nice to know that they can just walk in and get this help.
Thank you for that, Robert. We honestly, we're incredibly proud of Katie and how hard she's fought for this program and how hard she's worked to get funding for it. She's just done an amazing job. It's a very, very, very difficult program to have because the reimbursement, obviously you can see how few patients, but it's also so many patients that we have served. And so Katie also does work around here. I mentioned I was teasing her, but I was really honest. She works as a hospitalist. She works in the urgent care. She works in primary care. She works everywhere she can work to make sure that we can afford to have this program here. And she's consistently writing grants and looking for funding to help make this sustainable. And so I'm really proud of her. And this executive team is always fighting for her to figure out how can we do this. And the other thing, and I think maybe Commissioner Herron might have alluded to this earlier with her question, but it's highly sensitive and so fragile, and you have to be so careful and you can't mess up at all. And so it's just one of the things we're worried about as we grow is just how can we sustain this with just Katie or train others, but then we have to be consistent. And so we're trying to be really, really methodical as we build this program and do it right and make it sustainable. So yeah. And we love having 2 Katies now. It's awesome.
Yep.
Mark, what's your question?
Well, I maybe we could call this project the K2 project, the highest summit. And go PAs, good job. So exciting. I can only echo Commissioner Angersano's comments. That's just brilliant. Thank you.
Yeah, any other comments by the board?
I just want to thank both Katies for doing the community outreach, for presenting here tonight, for going to the firehouse, for, clearly you've established the relationship with Reclaim and all of those community organizations. It is all about that last mile of care and connecting the dots and making sure everyone knows. And that's just the work that you're doing is so very important. Thank you for making sure that everyone knows this is available. Because I was wondering at first, I'm like, do they just stumble into the ED? That doesn't sound right. But no, referrals coming from, from primary care and from community-based organizations. It makes my heart sing. Thank you for what you're doing.
And Mark, I saw your question in the chat there about whether or not the commissioners could attend the training. I don't see any reason why we can't. We'll try to find a time when it makes sense, and we'll make sure you guys get an invite.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I would add that it's such a heartfelt. It really pulls on my heartstrings on so many levels. And Robert, I appreciate your comments about in the fire service. I remember during my 25 years as a firefighter, I hadn't thought about this in years, how he came in and had some special training on the appropriate way of handling the event. I'm finding myself short of words here, but I am so thrilled that we have it within our team to provide, given the numbers that you presented, Katie, of incidents in our area that we serve and in this topic. And it's just amazing and just breaks your heart. And it is with a great heartfelt thank you to both of you and the entire executive team to allow this type of recognition of need that we have. So thank you so very much.
Yeah, I'd like to add as well, I would like to say thank you to both of you.
Please.
It is a very valuable project. And maybe instead of the 2K project, is to be the 2K case files. And we'll make it into TV fictionalized. Anyway, I really, it is very timely because this type of work that you are doing could lead to another risk behavior among kids if this doesn't get addressed. Teen suicide is very common if there's no help out there for them to address the abuse, domestic abuse and violence at home. It's so critical to have this support program for them and the family, of course. Thank you very much for both of what you do. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right,
Okay,
Katie's, thank you
Renee.
so much for presenting tonight. I appreciate it.
Mr. Bradshaw.
It's our pleasure. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, are we moving on to Mr. Bradshaw? MRI
are.
update?
Yes, so we wanted to bring back, since the MRI was one of our key performance indicators previously, and we had to get really creative on how we got to yes on that. We wanted Steve to come and give you an update and tell you everything that was cool and new about our new MRI. So Steve, I'll turn over to you.
Welcome, Steve.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate you guys letting me come and share. We are really, really excited about this new MRI machine. We've been working with it for just about a month now, and it's blowing our socks off as far as image quality goes. And so it'll be great to be able to kind of show you guys some of this stuff here and talk with you a little bit about it. The new scanner is called the Siemens Freemax, and it's an 80 centimeter bore. It's a 0.55 Tesla magnet, so it's a little bit different than our one that we had. Our traditional is 1.5, but because it uses this AI technology, it allows us to get image quality that's superior to what we actually had before, which is great. So the big thing about it though is that it has this 80 centimeter bore versus traditional is the old style is 60, and now the kind of wide bore that you hear about is 70 centimeters, and so it just patient comfort wise makes a huge difference in patients that are claustrophobic or patients that have a little bit bigger capacity, and we've been trying to reach out to the Seahawks, even get some of those big guys in here to be able to scan them, and so which would be great. We did have a successful ribbon cutting ceremony last month. It had a great turnout from the community and providers alike. It was just a great little thing, and everybody got to be able to tour back to it and see the facilities, and it was a great. Anytime we can get it open to the public and we can share about this, I think the better. And we're seeing growth already. We're getting tons of positive feedback from patients. As we're doing patients, we're asking them, and they're telling us that this is the best MRI I've ever had, and our providers and radiologists that are looking at the images are overwhelmed with the quality that we're getting. So it's very positive. We did actually, the volumes are doing great. We did 8 patients today, so we continue with that volume, we're going to be doing pretty good. So. Next slide.
Steve, did you say you did 8 patients today?
Yes, ma'am.
Wow. How many, can you to kind of give the commissioners an idea, what was a regular day previous with our old MRI?
1 or 2. So
that's fantastic. That's great work to the marketing team and outreach team that are helping support that.
And great outcomes for patient care too. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. The marketing team has done a great job. We've been sending out emails for a couple months now, just kind of even preparing providers for this. And I'll show you a slide and the next slide that kind of walks through some of the things that we're putting out there to providers that is really, really attractive. And really it has to do with that 80 centimeter bore, which you can see that on this picture here, you can't you can't get a good idea of how big of a scanner that is because there's not a patient there, but that is an actual picture of our scanner that it really is it is beautiful to me at least. So it's great. I also wanted to share this picture of the building that we put in place, and this is a crane that was craning that building into place, and we took a picture. We were watching it from the roof. It's pretty awesome to see this huge crane just pull this building off a truck and put it into place. So I thought I'd share that with you guys. Next slide.
Nice to see the work behind the work, right, Steve?
Yeah, exactly. So in this slide here, this gives you kind of the idea. And this is the thing that we were showing to the marketing team, in which if you see that picture on the left, that is the same gentleman that's in this new scanner. So that's a picture of what it looks like in a smaller magnet, and this is how much space they have in there now. And so we've been sending this out to providers just so they can see that difference, and it really makes a huge difference going from the what we used to have to what we have now as far as space and for those claustrophobic patients. So next slide. I wanted to show you guys some images as well, just so you can get a kind of idea of what the difference is. And so this one's really good in the sense, if you look at the image on the left, that top one compared to the one on the bottom. So that one on the top is the Freemax, the new scanner that we have, and you can see the bony tuberculate, that really fine detailed in that, which you look at the one below, you can't see it quite as well. And that's in orthopedics, we're seeing a real big improvement in our scan quality. The next slide, if you go to, shows a lumbar spine. And if you look closely at that image on the right, you can see really good detail on the top. It's hard to envision this, but the detail is superior on the 0.55 Tesla, which is our magnet, versus a 1.5. And that's what allows us to be able to have that 80 centimeter bore, is that lower field magnet. And but the image quality is just as good, or if not better. And with the AI technology too, we improve our time. So that's just another thing as far as comfort wise. The typical MRI is about 30 minutes long, and with the new technology, we can speed things up. If you go to the next slide, I can show you a complete series of abdomen liver study that this scan took. Scroll down just a little bit farther, Jen. Took a total of 16 minutes. And normally an MRI of the abdomen will take 30 to 40 minutes. And so the time that the patients have to spend in the magnet is greatly improved as well. Next slide. This kind of goes through an entire study of an MRI of the brain and an MRA of the brain, which is that squiggly lines that you see on the right side there. Is an MRA of the brain, showing the circle of Willis and the vessels in the brain. And with kind of a normal brain study, is about 5 sequences of these sequences that you see throughout there. But this took, which normally that would take 35 minutes probably for the whole thing, and this took 20 minutes. Next slide. This is one of the things that is probably the biggest improvement and really makes a big difference, is because of that 0.5 Tesla magnet, it reduces metal artifacts. So if there's any patients that have any metal inside, if you have a knee or hip, or in this case, this patient has, you can see metal throughout their spine. And if you look at the artifact that you see from that metal, that's pretty normal. That metal artifact you would see on that one that's labeled 3T. And it kind of goes down from 1.5 to there to ours, and where you can see incredible difference in the detail. You can see that spinal cord, you see that yellow line that really emphasizes the spinal cord. With that much, be able to see that with that much metal in a patient's back is, in the MR world, miraculous. And so we're really going to start pushing that too to our orthopedic folks, and be able to so they can be able to bring their patients here that might not be able to have that opportunity to have an MRI somewhere else, and really give them a service that they wouldn't normally be able to get. And so, so again, we're really excited about this new MR. We did 8 patients today, and we'll just continue to push it and market it out there, and we're going to keep doing that. And it's just an incredible thing that we can offer to our community and surrounding community. So thank you, guys. Any questions at all?
Are we the only one that possess or own one of this equipment, this super intelligent equipment?
So
And-
we are the only ones in our area that have this 80 centimeter bore. Yes, it is pretty new technology. I think the closest one is in Vancouver, Washington.
So are we, if there are other opportunities from other hospitals that may need the service of this super high efficiency, is something that we can collaborate and partner, and do we charge them? How does it work? If in the future we allow them to rent it out from us, or meaning bring their customers to.
So
Yeah,
Emma, how that works is that we can take patients and referrals from anywhere. And so the physicians would just write the order, and those patients would bring that here, and we could see them in our machine, and they would then receive their scan here. And then we would just bill the patient's insurance.
Wonderful. That sounds
Yeah.
like a winner.
Do,
Thank you.
Steve, do you use Radia to read these, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty much who everybody, one of the issues you get with a lot of physicians is they want to know who's reading it, so they get good quality
Sure.
reads and so forth. So we're all using the same people to do the readings. So is
Yeah.
there any training you had to do on behalf of Radia so they could understand how to read these better images?
We did pull in all of our head radiologists from the neuro side, MSK side, and body side, and went through and they helped us kind of optimize the protocols and kind of worked with them to get agreement to quality of what they're seeing. But as far as quality goes, these images are 5 times better than what we were providing them with the 1.5, and so we're not having any complaints from them at all. So
I'm just wondering if there's any reverse marketing going on here, where maybe they're putting a word in the physician's ears that send the patient over there and have it done on this better machine.
Yeah,
We hope so.
I absolutely have been connecting with Dr. Sambaz, our medical director for Radia, and that helps us. And I've been working with him, and he's definitely helping us get the word out there for sure.
Great.
Yeah, one thing for sure is, we can touch a lot higher number of lives in our region, if you will. And until the other providers in our region catch up with this technology, we certainly have an opportunity to not only provide better care, but could have an economic win as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you
Yeah.
very much, Steve, for all
Great,
your work.
thank you.
Robert kind of stole my question because I was wondering if it required special training for the folks off site that are doing the reading. But so then my next question is, does it cost more to have someone read this enhanced image, or are we reimbursed better, or does it cost more for us to do the imaging? And how does it work on the bottom line?
It works really well for the bottom line, but the charge for the Radia read fee is the same, and essentially MRIs work off a CPT code. So we charge a certain CPT code for, let's say, an MR of the brain. So it didn't change going from what we did with the 1.5 to the 0.55. So no difference.
We're just going to do more.
The efficiencies are where we gain that. So we'll be able to have more patients be able to get more appointments available, shorter wait time. So that's what the advantage for us is.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. That's great. Thanks, Steve.
Yeah.
Steve, thank you so much for your work on this and finally getting us going with our new one.
You're welcome. I'm glad that we're finally there.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay. Renee, we have Carrie.
All right. So next
Excited to
I'm
hear
going
about
to
the
have a hub update for you. And instead of doing it myself tonight, I invited Carrie Wetzel to join us. And Carrie is not new to our team, but maybe new to maybe some of you haven't met her before. But she is the behind the scenes mastermind of the project management, scheduling, every single detail you want to know about the freaking hub. She knows about it. That is her job. She's like, if you can imagine like mission control for the hub, that's Carrie. So she has all the details. I just thought it would be fun for you to get a glimpse of kind of her world and her view of what's going on with the hub and give you an update of what we've got going. So Carrie, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's nice to go over some of this work. And as Renee said, I live and breathe all things hub. So please ask questions. I wanted to share some details of what's going on and answer any questions that you might have. Jen, do you have those slides?
Well, we're pulling up the slides. Carrie isn't just a experienced project manager, but she actually was a COO and has some payer contracting background and just supply chain background. She is the queen of almost everything. So right now we're deploying her efforts to the hub, but when she's done with the hub, we have other plans for her. Patrick's just chomping at the bit to get her working on some of our contract negotiations with our payers.
Yes, payer work will be fun. And I have these slides too, if you'd like me to share.
Jen, Scott, do we have those?
Yep, sorry about that. A little slow for me.
It's okay. The computers have been slow today.
So yeah, welcome to the hub coming in March 1st of next year, which seems far away, but it is not. It is around the corner and it seems very, very soon being there, weekly and seeing what's going on. What I wanted to go through is kind of share some status and see what's going on inside the building. I know some of you have been inside and not quite sure how long that's been, but it changes by the day. The pictures that I have included in this are already outdated and I just took them this last week. So next slide, please. I just want to give an overall summary. So again, we remain on schedule for March opening. We are really shifting the focus here at SVH from construction planning of our spaces into operational readiness, making sure that we're planning for staffing, timing that appropriately. The equipment procurement is well underway, but again, being very strategic about when those drop. We want to make sure that we are having things arrive on time to avoid any sort of storage costs, not having them come too soon, but really having that fine dance of when they come. Oh, there we go.
Sorry.
Oh, you're fine. We're staying well on budget. Patrick runs a tight ship, so we're making sure that we are using funding opportunities available to us and making sure that we are leveraging not just our GPO relationships, but very strategic negotiations on those, the large amount of equipment and infrastructure that goes into the building. Our schedule is well on path, and about 60% of our major capital has already been secured and procured. So that, for me, feels really, really good, right? To check that box and know that we are there. We are going through very good due diligence to make sure that we're buying the right quantity of the right things at the right time. So that is a continual due diligence that we're doing as we move forward. IT and technology is right on track, and the Epic integration work is happening through every work stream there. And again, that switch to operational readiness and how we're going to stage staffing is really underway and where we're really focusing a lot of effort. We do have regulatory licensing and permitting going on, especially with the retail pharmacy and the new restaurant. So those are 2 new spaces, and they have done great work on those teams to have that really planned out well and on track, so we can move just very quickly through that as we gain temporary certificate of occupancy in January. Any questions about just the overall status of where we're at?
Thank you for lining it all up and paying attention. Well, so many people, but there's just so many details. The magic's in the details, and it's got to be a lot of fun.
It is. It is a lot of fun. I've been lucky to not just do this once, but a handful of times. And so a lot of people only get to do it once, and it's
Mhm.
fun to be able to come back to the table and be a part of this. It's really exciting.
It's great to see it all unfold.
So here's just some shots I wanted to share with you. Again, these are already outdated. I was in the building just yesterday, actually, and the middle picture where you see the tile, those spacers are already removed. The water fountain and bottle filler is already in, but these archways and this tile work, I really wanted to share because it's absolutely gorgeous. The attention to detail in this building is phenomenal. On the far left, you will see the irresistible staircase. And going in and all that sheetrock and the columns, at the base of that is where you will see the cafe come into play. And then up those stairs is how you gain access to the fitness room and rehab in that space. So it's, yeah, again, it's very exciting. It's very rewarding work. And I'm so happy that I get to be a part of it. The maroon wall is the entrance to the restaurant area. So that's coming together well. That restaurant kitchen starts going in just a couple weeks in the 1st of August.
Ooh.
That is exciting. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's really going to start taking shape in there. And also infrastructure. Obviously, everything is ran on IT. IT is so important. Those server racks are going in, and that equipment actually starts coming in September, when our IT gets kind of VIP access to the building and start to get in there and staging and start getting ready. So it's really getting real. And there we go.
Hey, Carrie, a fun fact on that tile that you could see in that arch photo is that was some of the tile that we piloted at the North Bend Clinic that was so popular in the bathrooms, and it was so beautiful that
Yep.
it came, now you're starting to see it come into the hub.
Yep.
That's awesome.
So again, just some highlights on some of the major capital that's been done. It's, again, fun to check that list. There's been a lot of evaluation in behind the scenes, but anesthesia machines have been completed, or, Pyxis. I won't go through the whole list. But this is a large portion of the infrastructure that's going into this building to serve the patients. But the pictures I chose to highlight here is the pediatric gym unit. This is, so on the bottom is our actual rendering of this space. And then the top is a likeness of what it will be from the vendor that we're actually contracting with to do this work. This is a great new space that's coming in, and it's very, very needed, not just from our community, but around the surrounding areas. This will gain a lot of traction. People are already waiting to get into this space. And Lisa, our director over this space, is just over the moon to get this out to the public and start having people come in. So it will have its own version of the climbing wall. So you're taking something that's a huge visual, and draw that's down there for the general public, but bringing it into that area for those kids and knowing that they have their own version to go in there. There's some treatment rooms in there as well. Yeah, Jen.
Are you hoping to use this pediatric gym for play therapy or for like physical therapy or other?
I believe it's both, and I don't want to clinically speak, but Renee, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, so the plan is for physical therapy, but because they have a wide variety of types of therapy, some play therapy might be part of that. But generally, they use the kind of the fun part of it as a reward system for the actual hard work that they have to do. And then we're not quite there yet, but one of the ideas that Director Lisa Childress is working on is whether or not we could use this as kind of like a rental space to do like some, like small kid birthday parties or something like that. So still some things in the works, but trying to maximize the utilization of it.
I just, from my own experience, when we were living in California, we drove very far and paid a ton of money for pediatric behavioral therapy in an environment like that, where the kiddo is climbing on the climbing wall and like, oh, so tell us about the golden rule or whatever it was, how kids open up more when they're playing. So put that in the back of your in the back of your roadmap, in the back of your mind.
We will. Thank you.
It's great. This is wonderful. Thanks, Carrie.
Yeah. And go to the next slide, please, Jen. Oop, there, that's the one. Another big highlight I wanted to share, you know, it's not just a handful of us in that building and making decisions, it's leadership involvement, and it truly is every single step of the way. We have people going into their spaces and validating, you know, is this accurate? Is this, you know, aligned with the design, not just from the architecture lens, but really from that end user and business owner end of how is the public going to receive this? And is this the vision you truly wanted? So we are going in on regular intervals to see stages of these spaces as it progresses. You know, you walk in and now that the steel is covered in the sheetrock, it looks like a completely different space. And so, you know, you evolve, you go in and now it's funny, you walk in and it's a different iteration of this building coming forward. But even just this last week, I just wanted to highlight a few of our leaders. Is you have Kelly Miller, our lab manager down here on the left. This was just this week. She's in there making sure that that chemistry analyzer is going to fit perfectly, that the counters are going in just as it's intended to be. And we're able to make little tweaks along the way because we have high attention to detail in our type A personality leadership to make sure that we are getting exactly what is planned and not a detail is overlooked. You see our CNO Trisha here in that second one. She's making sure those pre and post-op bays are configured the right way, that the oxygen and the med gas is in the right spot, that the computer arm is going in the right spot. So it's really a labor of love from a lot of people going in and making sure that this ends up the way it's intended to be. And Renee knows it's my favorite picture because this is her here on the right. And she's telling the contractor exactly how this needs to be. And I love this because there is no detail that is overlooked. And this is where our fire pit is going to be going. And just kind of looking through that space on how that community aspect is going to come through. So very, very involved group you have here. And I can't emphasize that enough. Yeah.
I think that's one of the things that's the hardest for this project. As you know, we're doing this alternative construction method called GCCM, which is where you bring on your contractor and your architect and your owner all at the same time. And they're used to saying, okay, what do you guys want to do? All right, we'll go build it. But they have the owner at every step of the way, picking out every single little thing and bossing them around. And they're like, they like it, but I think it's also unusual for them. But I think it's going to produce a far better product than if we had just said, yeah, go build us a building.
Absolutely.
The interaction is so powerful. No question about it.
Yep. Absolutely. They're a great team. I always miss the construction team when they leave. It's you get so close with them over the years, yeah, or the time that you're doing a project, and then they leave and you're like, oh, those are the people that you're down the trenches with every single day. It's a great experience. Just a couple snips here again on furniture procurement. This building has a lot of furniture in it, and every single piece of it is handpicked and curated. You can see the trays of different materials here on the bottom where you have Chef Blake and Tom and Renee going through each piece of the restaurant as it's coming together. It's a little snip of the banquette there, green with the brass on. I don't want to share too much, but there's some really cool pieces going into the bold areas of the building, I will say, aside from the living well areas. We have focus rooms that allow people to meet in a collaborative and organic way scattered through the building, which is the middle on the bottom photo. And again, just the business unit area, just wanted to share a view of what that's going to look like when it's done there on the second floor for our marketing and finance teams. But yeah, it's so close to being done on the furniture. I think there's maybe 3 lines that are pending just kind of finalization, and installation begins in November, wraps up in late January, and we've already placed the first round of orders, which is really exciting.
Congratulations.
And I won't read through all this, but this is really a list of work in flight. I'm always happy to answer questions if they come up. It's a ongoing, I call this season 3 of the hub, because every season of it changes and you have to bring a different, lens to each time you're coming to a different phase of this process, but we're really going through and, finalizing our anesthesia partner, and we have some public RFPs out there on surgical equipment. So we're going through each of these things, and again, the climbing wall will be starting in August. So a lot of really cool work gaining momentum. I joked with somebody the other day. They asked if I was on PTO, and I'm like, I'm not taking PTO for at least another year. Like, that's not going to happen. But again, there's nowhere else I'd rather be. I came to this facility really just to truly work on this and partner. So it's really fun to be a part of the work. Any questions? Okay. Well, thank you. If anything comes up, let me know.
Carrie,
Thank you
thank you
so
so much.
Yeah, great job.
Thank you.
Okay. Quality Committee.
All right, so we mentioned earlier that this
Mr.
was the
Bowers.
quarterly meeting for the Quality Committee, and Commissioner Bowers joined us. And there's a couple of things that I think he thought stood out, and he wanted to share those things with you and give a report to the board. So Commissioner Bowers, all you. And you are on mute.
Muted.
There we go. Thank you. I wanted to also echo Commissioner Agrisano's point of view of having a finance committee presentation from a commissioner as well. I was honored to be attending the quality committee meeting this past week, and am incredibly impressed with the number of people and the depth of their knowledge and their incredible desire to see this facility work. I can't say enough about the hard work they do. I asked them to give me 3 key tips that I could convey to the board and to the staff as well, although the staff is probably quite well aware of it. The 3 metrics that they suggested that I bring forward are the staff retention level is incredible. We're above our goal, and that is trending that way for several months, if not longer. The second one is the patient satisfaction rating is 90% or above, up into the 95% level. Any of our larger colleagues would be thrilled with that. And finally, the access to care time is really remarkable. I stated in the meeting that for the first time I was a patient at Snoqualmie Valley Health, and when I called to make the appointment they offered me was sooner than I wanted, which is that's unheard of. But anyway, kudos to your team, Renee. They did an amazing job.
Thank you. Trish, anything else you want to add to the quality kind of report out high level?
No, I think Commissioner Bowers highlighted everything quite nicely, so appreciate that. There's lots of great work happening here. All the things, med safety, patient satisfaction, and just appreciate the work of the SVH team and leaders and staff to make sure we're giving the best care possible.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Bowers and Commissioner Herron. I know heavily involved in that as well, and thank you for both your times. Okay. With that, Renee, you are up with your CEO report.
And in interest of time, I'm going to be rather brief. Carrie did most of the fun stuff with the hub, but just to call a couple of things to your attention. There were National Stroke Care recognition for our team, as well as they received 2 bronze and a silver from the American Heart Association. So those are my report for you to review, and just a shout out to our awesome emergency room department and everybody that contributes to the work there. Also, our quality team received the Silver Award for the Achievement of Excellence from the Washington State Hospital Association. We were honored to receive that in Chelan on their behalf, so thank you. There's a great write-up in here, and we also included a full page for your review in the packet on the medication safety campaign that Director Corey from the pharmacy is doing. So Corey has really dug deep, and Commissioner Bowers got to hear a lot about this at the Quality Committee, but just a creative approach to how do we engage people in medication safety and how do we really bring attention to this in a fun way. And I think her Pilbert and Poppy little characters are making appearances everywhere, and it has made it really fun. And I think she's done a great job making an impact and making some actual noticeable, measurable changes in that area. So thanks to Corey. There was also, I think Emma sort of briefly mentioned this, but in my report, we did include, there's been some questions. How many of our employees live in the district and where do they come from? So we did have a little bit of a deep dive into that, and that graph is included in your report here. And so as Emma mentioned, about 50% of our staff are extremely local, 33% of them being within the district boundaries. So when we talk about our constituents, there are many of your constituents on this meeting tonight. Just because they work here doesn't mean they're not constituents. But then I was also impressed, though, about 50% of our staff travel to this community and give the gift of their talent and their education and their training to be able to support this community. So it's kind of interesting. I thought you would be interested in seeing a little bit more about that. You heard quite a bit about the hub. We are currently working on signage, and a big update is that the city of Snoqualmie has approved a variance. I might have mentioned that last month, but we are moving forward with getting those signage footings in, and that is very exciting. And other than that, I think I'll just take questions and just save time for tonight.
Yeah, Renee, I just have a question. I know that we're launching our hub March 2027, and originally it was in September of 2026. What exactly the rationale or the cost for the delay?
Yeah, so it's actually not a delay. I think it was more just about when did we get the shovel in the dirt, and we hadn't originally had hoped to get the shovel in the dirt about 3 months prior to when we did. And so that kind of that pre-work before we were actually able to get the permit for digging and all of the things that you have to do, cross the T's and dot the I's and jump through the hula hoops, took a little bit longer than we had hoped. And so that was kind of the initial 3-month part. And then there was also a discrepancy between when was construction completed and when do we move in. So in this case, we are getting temporary certificate of occupancy in February. And so technically we could start in February, but unfortunately there's a lot of work to be done, like moving in the chairs and validating the chemistry analyzer and getting the OR team up there and practicing before they can actually get their certification, getting the license for the pharmacy. So there's all these regulatory things that have to happen in a healthcare setting. So we are going to move mountains and make miracles happen and do that in about 30 days, which is probably extremely aggressive. But thanks to Carrie's good work and her ability to do the staging for everything, I think we'll be able to accomplish that. So I think we're doing really good. And in the scheme of construction, we are still way on time.
Is there a plan for the roundabout as well? Was that included in the planning as well? Or is that part of the
Yeah, so
issue?
in the project scope, there is not a roundabout. There is actually a traffic light that will be on the Parkway in Southeast 99th, which is the current entrance to the hospital. There's two major reasons for a traffic light, and not a roundabout. The first is there's a considerable amount of elevation on the Parkway right there. And if you were to do a roundabout, there are regulations on how steep it can be. They would have had to move like literally almost half a mountain of dirt to be able to make it flat enough to put a roundabout there. The second is that a traffic light, you can actually control the intersection. So when you have like ambulances and things that need to get through an intersection, you can turn the traffic lights red and then make sure the ambulances can get in and out more efficiently. And there is no chance that for whatever reason that roundabout could be blocked or backed up. And so therefore it's safer for emergency vehicle ingress and egress.
Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good question, Emma.
Yes. Any other questions for me? Other than, if not, we can move on. Just quickly touch on the dashboard. And so on the KPIs for the board, the foundational elements, Tammy, do you want to give a quick update on the physician recruitment? We're showing that we have achieved 3 of our 5 providers, but I do think we have some updates on this for the board.
So
We are underway I'm trying to make sure that I'm counting the numbers correctly, but we are underway to be quickly towards 5 out of 5. As you know, we brought on Dr. Chitra Pasupaletti at the North Bend Clinic, and she started earlier this year. And so she was the first provider that we brought on. We then brought on Dr. John Neepkins, who will begin in September later this year, and he is a nurse practitioner who will be at the North Bend Clinic. And then lastly, secured a wonderful contract with a Dr. Joe, who is an ENT physician who will be also doing consultations and surgeries in the OR when, of course, the hub opens, but he will join us later in the fall, late fall, mid-November. We also are underway to try and sign a dermatologist and a family medicine doc, who will be my other two in that queue, but we also continue to explore behavioral health and primary care roles, family medicine and internal medicine. Is that what we were thinking?
Yep, that's great. And we, pre-announcement for the board, we have also hired a pulmonologist, and that contract is signed. That pulmonologist is also going to be our chief medical officer. He is from Washington State, but other than that, we aren't releasing any further details in respect to his current employer. So that physician will start with us in October. Sorry, get it. So we got a little bit of ways out for that one, but once more announcements have been made about his departure from his current organization and they're comfortable, then we will release more information. But we're very excited to have that physician join us. I think you guys are going to be pleasantly pleased with his leadership skills and training. So that's great. On the community health, we are rocking it in visits. There are so many things contributing to a great outcome here. We've got great Kelly Miller from lab reported that they had another record month in the lab and the number of tests that they've seen. Lisa Childress and her rehab team are just killing it in the volumes. You see this later. So, and then of course, Steve Bradshaw single-handedly with his new MRI is going to take us to the finish line on that one. But anyway, so, and then actually we've been seeing some strong volumes in the ED too. It's been a little sporadic, but some really strong days in there. So we're looking really good on our visits. The sad news on our dashboard tonight is our financial stewardship goal. As you know, that our target for this was a negative of around 3 million. We'll do CEO math, and we're pushing almost 5 million. So our operations, and Patrick will get into this in the finance section, so I won't go too deep, but operationally, we're looking really good, really strong. And there's some accounting things that are really making this look challenging, as well as kind of our uncompensated care and our write-offs for our insurance companies. So that we're going to try to do a Hail Mary on this to get it to 3 million. There's a few things we have hanging out there as far as grants and other funds and things that could come in before the year end. But I do think that it will be a strong possibility we may not make this metric this year. And again, that's not a bad thing. This is the investment we're making in the district. We knew this was going to be a hard year. This was expected. It's just kind of a bummer when our team is such high achievers and they want to achieve their goals. And if we don't, that's kind of disappointing. So we'll keep an eye on that, and we will keep pushing to make that look a little bit better before December. Health system of choice, Commissioner Bowers mentioned from quality. We are really doing a great job here. Our patients are loving the brand. They're loving the customer service, and they're loving the access. And we just continue to I try to dig deep to get negative reviews so that we can have something to work on, but it's really hard to find. Patients are really appreciating their care here. And lastly, our team, our turnover rate is doing wonderful. And considering the amount of new hires, you'll see these in the dashboards later. I'm kind of prepping for the finance report. Take a look at how many new staff members we have and our FTEs that are increasing, and we are still keeping that turnover rate very, very low. So good news all the way around, and a little bit of a work ahead for us on the financial bucket. Any questions? All right, Commissioner Hagley, that's all for me.
Okay, Mr. Ritter, you have the floor, sir.
Great, thank you. Yeah, you can just blame me. I'm the one to bring everything down now after this. So we have the finance committee. I think financial report. As Renee pointed out, we had increase in expenses in June, but this was a great expense to have, which was paying out our incentive comp to our employees for all that they accomplished in 2025. So it makes the month of June look rough, but you know, we had budgeted for that amount, but you know, it hits in 1 month, but you spread it out over 12 months, so it looks bad in 1 month. I think the thing to point out here is though, our net position is minus 4.8 and our goal is 3.2. What Renee was talking about, there's several grants that we have out there that we have not received the funds for yet. Some of them are going to help with the on the balance sheet side of things for the equipment purchases and things like that, and then a couple of them will help on the income statement side of things to decrease that loss at the end of the year. So it's kind of a timing thing right now with that. And then we also will be able to recover some funds, actually going all the way back to 2021 for some COVID funds that we have about $1.7 million. But we won't see that for about 700 days. That's how long it's taking the IRS to process those. But the good news is it is coming. But it's those are some of the accounting things that Renee is talking about now, is the timing issues with that. But the good news is you can see the EBITDA there is at about $5 million, which that's taking out everything that we spend on our investment side of things. So EBITDA is your earnings before interest and taxes, depreciation, and amortization. And so that number being positive, you're seeing that that is a good number for us. So that's for you as commissioners. You know, you're talking about, we have a loss, but you can see we're positive there. I think the other thing that you'll see is when we get to the balance sheet is that we're generating cash through operations much higher than we ever have before too. So the underlying metrics are good. It's just the optics of a big loss through the first half of the year is not met our target for 2026 so far.
Patrick,
questions or comments there?
Patrick, I'll jump in here. A couple of things, and I appreciate your comments, narrative. Notice that I know we'll get into this a little bit further as well, but the AR days, though it's still not horrible, but it is climbing a little bit, it appears, if I recall correctly, right? And then the days in cash, having just come back, Mark and I and Jen just came back from the WISHA conference, and listening to the other public hospital districts around the state, and they talk about days in cash and AR. I come back and look at ours, and I'm feeling pretty darn good, and certainly recognizing the hard work that all the departments and the executive team and everything that you're doing, and appreciate that, and the transparency the fashion in which you do it.
Yeah, the AR days have creeped up, but that's also a result of recent increases in revenue there. So most of that is in the 45 days or less for that 51 days. So we expect those to hopefully level off back to where they were below the 45-day mark where we were, but with heavy months of volumes in May and June, that's where we're seeing those days creep up there.
Yep. Thank you, Patrick.
Yeah.
What is our average? Thank you, Commissioner Haugley, for bringing up days of cash and the investments, which is 135 days, and you said you feel pretty good about that. That's about 4.5 months cash. How do we compare with the other districts that you mentioned? And are we better? Are we doing much better?
We are much better than a lot of smaller districts, that other districts in the state, Emma. So usually they're between 60 and or less days of cash, and so we're about twice that good. And again, that days of cash we'll continue to, that's just stating if we had to stop business, we would still have enough cash on hand to pay all of our bills for the next 135 days. So
That was my
of
next
course,
question.
we're not stopping business, so that number is staying pretty steady there.
All right.
And if you recall our bond covenants, our covenants only require us to have 60 days of cash on hand to meet our covenant requirements. So again, we are up twice above what we need to meet our covenant requirements.
Yeah. Very good. Thank you.
Yeah. So if we can go down to the income statement there. You can see gross patient revenue. What I mentioned before, we're generating good revenue. We're $3 million over budget on the gross patient revenue side. But what Renee was mentioned earlier, and I was alluding to, is some of the uncompensated care you can see is higher than we anticipated when we did the budget, right? Total, we're about 50% in our uncompensated care and contractual allowance deductions. Uncompensated care is our bad debt, our charity care, and our patient discounts that we offer, and any denials that are not recoverable there. And then your contractual allowance amount is just the contractual discount that we have based on our different payers. So,
Patrick, if I can bring up a point too, you mentioned in the Finance Committee, is that some of that uncompensated care is a result of coding on bills to the insurance company, and they denied payment, and we didn't have a lot of visibility into some of these denials, and now we do, and we're going back and submitting these, and hopefully that number will come down as a result of those corrections.
That is correct. So there was a systems issue in Epic where these remark codes were just not falling into a work queue for the billers to follow up on the denials to rebuild them. And so that has been corrected on what's called the HB side, or the hospital billing side. We are working on the professional billing side to correct that too. Some of the other things that we're seeing is some Epic situations, as well as we've dug deeper into the denials even just this week. Taking a look at duplicate claims is one of the big denials that we're seeing there, and we're seeing some claims are dropping one day and then dropping a second claim like the second day after that. And so if dupe denied claims are coming across, if both of them get denied, then that would contribute to some of this uncompensated care deduction here. So the TruBridge team is digging into that to see what could be possibly causing that issue there with the duplicate claims issue. Another one of the bigger denials that we have is related to just the large claim dollar amounts that we have on the inpatient and emergency room side of things. Most of those claims are requiring documentation requests from the payers, and so it causes a delay in payment and sometimes a denial in payment when we send records, but then miraculously they claim that they never received the records that we sent, so we have to send them again. And those are some of the things that is happening on the AI side of things for the claims going through. And so being able to combat that is something we're working on to be able to mitigate those denial responses coming back through. We're working with the Epic team as well to possibly drop documentation with all those high dollar claims rather than waiting for the request for that. So to be proactive on that side if we're able to do that. So that won't prevent them from saying they didn't receive it, but at least we'll know that documentation has gone through and can show that there. So the good news is that some of that, the state passed some legislation that requires those denials to now be adjudicated by hand. You can't just automatically deny via AI for the insurance companies in the state of Washington. They're also required to pay all of their claims within 30 days. We are seeing that contract language come back from the payers to reflect that. So they are at least adjusting the paper that we have with them to make those changes. It'll be interesting to see if those behaviors do actually change. We do actually track it through a group that's called Hive, where they track all of the claims, remittances, 835s and 837s and then we can share and we can see that, for instance, to an insurance company has excessively high denials compared to another insurance company that we're billing. We know our processes are the same for both insurance companies. So what is causing one payer to pay slower than another payer when the claim systems are built in the same way? And that's where I can go and have discussions with our contract representatives from there.
But Patrick, are we still do we still offer in-house insurance for those who may have the ability to purchase a discounted insurance from the hospital?
No, we do. That was our old affordable access plan.
Yeah.
And once the health exchange came in, we ended that program, which was right before COVID is when we stopped that program there. But we do offer a prompt pay discount, and of course charity care to patients.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Patrick, thank you for all of the information. I wanted to point out a couple of things again from the Chelan conference with the Washington State Hospital Association and all the great work that they're doing on our behalf. One of which, of course, is all the legislative work, and they had some great success in Olympia this last session, in this last year, and we are looking for great help from that effort. I wanted to bring out one of the things that you have here is the visual of the breakdown of our uncompensated care to date, and how that breaks down. I really appreciate, I don't know if that was Shauna or yourself, Patrick, that put that visual presentation together. For those of you that look at these reports, it's really helpful to have that breakdown visually. I like to see it visually as well. So thank you. And there's a lot of hard work going on behind the scenes on so many fronts on the financial side of things here. So thank you. Okay.
All right.
Anything else, Patrick?
No other comments. No, that's kind of, as you can see, the rest of the income statements there, we can go down to the graphs, and it provides a kind of a better visual interpretation there. So you can see that days of cash number, the AR days, what we talk about, employee salaries, FTEs increasing, so positive trends in that days of cash, and you can see the net patient revenue while isn't had that dip in April when we made the contract adjustment. You can see it's back up to the budget line in both May and June. So just one really difficult month for that write down, but overall we've been very close to budget with all other months there.
What's going on in April? Because I look at net income loss and net patient, they're both down on April.
That's the adjustment, Emma, to the uncompensated care that we had based on what our collections rate was after the audit. So taking a look at what we've actually been collecting over the past year, we needed to make an adjustment downward on what our expected percentage of revenue that we would collect. And so we took that hit in April. And so that's where that number dipped down there.
Now it's down in June again, it's going down. Will be going up in July, hope.
July, well, we'll see what July looks like.
Mhm.
It is, there's been some strong volumes, but it's also summertime, so some of that has
Yeah.
some seasonality with it, with that too.
Mhm. Yeah, thank you.
I think I'm up, CFO Ritter.
All right, thank you.
All right, commissioners,
you.
good evening. And was there a comment first?
Oh, I was gonna say, thank you, Tammy, for jumping in here.
Of course, of course. Thank you for having me. So like with every month, what I like to do is defer to Shauna's wonderful report and then answer any questions you may have. So as you can tell, and as you heard earlier, we're doing very well for the most part with our volumes. We are still trying to reach budget in a couple of key areas, but may I answer any questions that you have on this slide? I will call out for you a couple. North Bend looks gorgeous. North Bend is following that
Yeah.
trend line beautifully and predictably. Looks
That's
very
good.
good. Urgent care was down in June. We talked about this at the finance committee, but I believe it's with some change in seasonality. You just didn't have as many sick patients and people were out in the sunshine as we are wont to do in Washington in June. Lisa Childress running our therapy department. I get bored of she and Kelly just telling me they are breaking all kinds of, what are they? They're just all of the barriers. They're seeing all the patients, all of the records is the word I was trying to look for there, in both therapies and in labs. So doing very, very well there with the volumes. It's a pretty boring report on this page,
Pretty
but can I
fantastic,
answer any
right?
questions?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Next slide, Jen. Okay, CT, we saw an increase in CT. We were talking about it for a little while. It was under trend line, under both budget and last year, a couple of the months here, but CT is trending up. And if you recall, CT is often with case complexity in the ED, but we did see those numbers go back up in June. MRI has stayed well above both budget and actual. And again, you know all about that. We could probably test you on our super wide MRI after Steve Bradshaw's presentation. Mammography down a bit in June. We are having a few staffing challenges, but we are stable this last month, and we're going to be working on this continuous through marketing efforts and through Bradshaw's team. So anticipate getting on track with mammography and exceeding budget. Any questions on other imaging modalities? Right.
Tammy,
The
a
team's
shout
good.
out to Dr. Shaw and the endo team for all of their hard work. We're seeing a good trend there, and I think we'll see that continue. And also,
Very
I guess
much.
Dr. Rappaport too.
I was
She's
just
been-
going to say that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Renee. Yeah, Dr. Rappaport is a gem. If you haven't met him, if you didn't get to meet him at the Champagne Brunch, you missed out. But if you need general surgery, may I introduce you? So he is a stellar surgeon, just like all of our surgeons, and a really great personality. Working hard with Dr. Chen to see additional volume in the endoscopy suite. We may be tempted to pull him out of endo and push him into surgery in a few months. So we're going to enjoy that volume while we can, but keep our endoscopy volume stable.
Congratulations on, the bulk of these different slides are really fantastic. And of course, the mammography stands out, and you've cited before, Tammy, about the challenges with staffing, and certainly look forward to that coming into play in a more favorable way, and that will reflect positive in going forward.
We've got some tricks up our sleeve that I look forward to sharing in the future as well, but it is not through lack of effort. And that, even if I'm moving through the slides, I want to tell you how much work is happening on every single operational leader. They are working hard, looking at strategies, stabilizing staffing. We just have a stellar team. There's really not much more I can say than that. All right, this last slide, I think you heard earlier, emergency department volumes this year have been tremendous. But with that, I will tell you that our patient satisfaction scores remain extremely high. That team led by Abby and Dr. Shinneman, who is the medical director in ED, do an amazing job with patients, and very proud of that team and what they've done. Inpatient, Dr. Shaw, and again, Ian Quinn, our new medical unit manager, along with various other actors in that stage, have done a fabulous job making sure that we have an average daily census that continues to trend up. You'll see there since April. So doing a great job, also evaluating for the appropriateness of who is in OB status, who is inpatient, and of course, that's reflected in our average daily census. On the next slide, I'm going to draw your attention to a new slide that we have. Thank you, Jen.
Mhm.
On your ask, we wanted to see a distribution of what our swing bed, inpatient, and observation in a different graphic representation. This gives you a good idea of the challenge and natural tension between ensuring that we have heads and beds. We have every bed full, if we can, with the right concentration of what is swing or rehab, what is inpatient, and what is OBS. Now, you recall, observation must be under 48 hours and really shouldn't peak beyond that without turning into either an inpatient or discharge. But Shauna and the finance team did a fabulous job with this graph, and it gives you a great visual representation. Went through that quickly. Any questions for me?
I like the new graph.
Do you? Good. Excellent. Thank you, Shauna and team.
Okay. Anything else from Tammy, from yourself, or from Patrick?
No, time for the warrants.
Okay. Hearing that, thank you very much. And I believe we had, if I remember looking at this correctly, would we have number 9, 10, 11 pay periods? We had 3 pay periods this cycle as well.
Yeah, so there's 2 warrants that we will be approving since we didn't meet in June. There will be May's warrants and June's warrants. So you can see that 27 million is quite a bit bigger than what you're used to seeing for the month of May. But yes, there were 3 pay periods in May. There was also 2 April and March's payments to GLY for the construction came out that month in May, as well as the $7 million for the first interest payments on the revenue bonds first of the year came out in May. So that's where those numbers are bigger because of that.
Okay, very good. With that, I'll go ahead and call for approval of the warrants as presented for this period for let's see here.
6 million.
27 million.
No, I got that.
841,896.
For the time period. Patrick is what I'm.
May 31st.
Through May 31st, 2026. Thank you for the dollar amount of 27,841,896. May I have approval of the warrants?
I am looking at a different warrants here.
There's 2, Emma, for this month.
At the very end, this is all I'm sorry. Okay.
That's okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
It's okay. I had to flip on. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, looking for approval of the warrants as presented.
I move that we approve the warrants
Okay, do
of
I have a second?
27 million.
Thank you. Do I have Commissioner Carter, thank you. So hearing a first and a second for approval of the warrants through May 31st in the dollar amount of 27,841,896. Please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Not hearing a abstention or a no, so motion carries. Thank you very much, everybody. So with that being said, I'll go ahead and move on to Commissioner comment.
Oops, we have one more warrant that should be being approved for June. Did it not?
You know, you're right. I see it on the back page there.
On
Thank
the back,
you.
that's that 2 something. Yeah, that's what I was looking at. as well.
6,359,000. That's what you were referring to, Emma.
Yeah, pay periods 12 and 13. Is that May and June?
That is June. Yeah.
June.
But it says 12, pay periods 12 and 13.
Yeah, pay period
2
number
pay
12,
periods.
pay
2
period
pay
number
periods.
13.
Oh, yes. Okay,
Thank you.
I got you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So with that, do I have a motion to approve the motions through June 30th in the dollar amount, 2026 in the dollar amount of $6,359,744. Do I have a motion to approve?
I move that we approve.
Thank you, Commissioner Herron. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you very much,
second.
Commissioner Carter. Very good. So I'll call for the question. All those in favor of the approval of the warrants for June in the dollar amount again of $6,359,744. It has been motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Hearing no abstentions and no noes, motion carries. Thank you very much. Thanks for the assistance there. With that, I'd like to go ahead and go into commissioner comment. And Emma, Commissioner Herron, I'd like to go ahead and call on you first.
Okay, I'd like to give a shout out to everyone for all the wonderful updates, and it's always exciting, never stops to amaze me how well we're moving along. I also enjoyed the 2 great trauma stories from the 2 case. Their excellent support and patient care was greatly made a positive impact in the lives of those 2 women. I think it's very remarkable, impressionable as well. So thank you all. Moving on
Thank you.
to the bright future. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Herron. Commissioner Carter.
Thank you, President Hagley. I second everything that Commissioner Herron says. What a wonderful group of presentations tonight. Really loved how interactive it was and hearing from all the different departments. And of course, a hub update is exciting, and the trauma update, really brought us together, warmed our hearts. I kind of love how supportive and fun the chat is too. People having little jokes or just being really supportive of each other, cheering each other on. It's just really indicative of what the culture is like at our hospital. Thank you everyone for just, really giving your hearts and souls to our community, for giving our residents the absolute best care that we could get anywhere. Thank you to Steve. I'm trying to remember all the people that we shouted out to. Thank you so much, folks. Amazing meeting. Enjoy your summers. Be safe, hydrate.
Thank you, Commissioner Carter. Mr. Bowers.
Yes, sir. I've already spoken quite a bit, so I'm just going to sum it up by saying I'm thrilled with the trends that we have. I'm thrilled with our staff and how hard they work. I could just go on, and I plan to do that in the community.
Very good. Thank you, Commissioner Bowers. Mr. Agrisano.
Yes, I have the same feeling when I look at everything that we're doing between the program that the 2 Katies are doing, the new MRI, system, the new mammography system. I step back and I take a look at the creativity that comes out of the staff. You would think this was a major hospital in a major city somewhere, but it's not. We're in a little rural community. We're a rural hospital, but our thinking and our actions and the way we're implementing is top notch. I mean, it's first class all the way across. And it makes me very proud to be a part of an organization with so many dedicated and great people associated with it. And I'm always amazed at the new creative things I learn about that we're doing, like the SAFE program. And I just can't say enough about it. Makes my heart warm.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Agrisano. Holy moly, how do I follow all of that? I just want to say, stand back, everybody, and just take a good look at what you're accomplishing. Holy moly, it's just, and yet you don't dodge any efforts left that are opportunities that might be viewed as negative. You stand up, you put your head down, you go to work, you put together a plan, you execute it great. Carrie, fantastic work with the hub. Thank you. And everybody else, certainly Renee and just everybody, gosh, what a team. Renee, you must be so proud. I just thank you all so much for allowing me to be a part of it. And everybody, to Commissioner Carter's comment, stay hydrated and be safe. Safe travels to everybody.
Commissioner Hagley,
thank you very much.
Before you
Yes, go ahead.
adjourn, I have one more order of business for the board.
Okay.
We definitely need to plan our commissioner development session, strategic planning session. We would like to do kind of an one afternoon, evening, and then one maybe 3/4 day. I have a range of dates, or Jen does, that we have selected to see if it will work. We pre-tested a whole bunch of days with a bunch of people, and this is the one we think will work. So we want to see if this would. Thanks, Jen. So
Hoping
September
that
28th through the 30th.
Mhm.
And we promise it will be one evening and one part day. So we just want to see what your availability is Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday on the 30th. And we're gonna have to do what works for most.
Thank you, Jen.
So I know Carter is good. Yeah, I saw a thumbs up there. Okay. Can we get a calendar check for you guys? Mark, you're in. Awesome. Thank you. We were hoping we were giving you enough notice.
Yeah, and I'm good with that. I have enough notice where I can make that work.
Okay.
What, I'm sorry.
Emma,
The
we're
day
looking
again?
at September 28th, 29th, and
28th.
30th for a board development strategic planning work session. And we won't use
And
all
8,
of those days. I just want to know if
Yes.
1, 2, or 3 of those days will work for you.
That's good. It's good. Thank you. Yes, it will.
Okay, great.
There's a
Commissioner
thumbs up for
Hubley?
you.
I have to, I will usually yield my calendar for anything.
Okay.
I have massive items here that I need to work through to make it happen. Right now, I couldn't commit to any specific date, but rather what can I move around to accommodate that window of time. I think what I heard you say was either a 1 day or a day and a half, perhaps. Are you talking
Yeah,
about
we're
overnight?
looking for kind of like a later afternoon, evening, for more of a team building social dinner, and then kind of a work session the next day. And we plan to be local.
Okay, understood. I need to go through some pieces of
Okay.
information here. I apologize.
Jen and I will follow up, but if everybody else is flexible, then we will work with your
Mhm.
calendar and we will try to find what we can make the easiest for you. How's that?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, don't want to be the bad boy here.
Okay. All right, you guys. Thank you, Commissioner, for allowing me to grab your calendars. This is the most efficient way for make Jen's life easy. So thank you.
Yeah, no, I'll be back in town next, I'll be out of town through next Wednesday. I'll be home Wednesday next week. So, but
Okay.
I'll do some more digging, Jennifer, and I'll reach out to you.
Sounds good. Thank you,
Yeah,
everyone.
thanks,
And thank
everybody.
you to our team for joining us tonight. It's always nice to have everyone.
You bet. Thank you, everybody.
Okay.
Have a great weekend, rest of the week.
Thank you,
Bye.
Bye-bye.
folks.
Thank you,
Thanks.
everyone. Have a
And
good
thank you
night.
for everything
Take
you
care.
do.
Great job,
Y'all are the
everybody.
best.
Great job.